the companions knew him to be, they would say to me, as you saw him. And if they described him in this distant way, not like him at all, they would say, you didn't see him. That's the reality. So the only way we can be certain if we see the Prophet in a dream is if we know what he looks like. If we know what he looks like. How to know what he looks like? Well, there are books. One book in particular, Shama'il al-Tirmidhi, in which the scholar Imam al-Tirmidhi gathered up all of the hadith describing the Prophet's personal appearance and habits in detail. If one reads that, one studies it, one will have a picture of what Prophet looked like, what he did, what his practices were, etc. So if someone comes in the dream looking like that, description that we've gotten, then we can be certain we've seen the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if our idea of the Messenger of Allah is looking like, you have some drawings which have come out of Turkey and Iran, etc., where they've actually drawn pictures of Prophet, which is of course forbidden. And they put on these huge turbans and these kind of things. So if somebody comes into one of your dreams, looking like one of these images that have been drawn in these miniatures, Persian and Turkish, etc., then know that Satan has tricked you. It wasn't the Prophet. You have another question here. Dr. Bilal Phillips, could you please enlighten me on the following issue? اقرأ باسم ربك الذي is the first surah, whereas Surah Al-Fatiha is to be read first in the Quran. Who did this ordering of the Quran? Well, Iqra Bismi was not the first surah. The first 5 verses were the first 5 verses revealed. But the first surah, chapter revealed, was Surah Al-Fatiha. It's the one necessary for our prayers. That's the first complete chapter to be revealed. Now, that would then make sense that it's first in the Quran. But in any case, the idea, I understand what you're getting at. What you're getting at is that there are chapters which are not following the order in which they were revealed in the Quran. And that's true. Majority of the chapters in the beginning were the last to be revealed. Majority of those at the end were the first to be revealed. So why? And where does this order come from? Well, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to teach his companions the Quran. And he used to tell the scribes, as well as those who were memorizing, put this chapter after this one, this verse in this chapter, so and so and so. He used to give them complete instructions. And in the last Ramadan of his life, he recited the Quran from beginning to end. Twice, confirming the order in which it was to be recited and to be known. So that order obviously ultimately came from Allah. It was the order for the Quran was written in the heavens, and it's the order which was fulfilled on the earth. And, another letter which has come into us. Assalamu alaikum. With regards to your explanation on Urf, you said that customs taken from other countries are prohibited. Please explain, how do we know which customs are allowed and which customs are taken from other cultures, as it is difficult to trace the origin of each action we do in our daily lives. Also, please explain some of the innovations in the marriage customs of India and Pakistan. For example, the luncheon reception by the girl's parents, not the walima. Jazakallah. Muhammad Asif. Okay, in Ajman. Okay, Brother Muhammad, first and foremost, when we talked about Urf or custom, we recognize that there is a limited place for it within the bound of Islamic law. That custom has a valid aspect to it in terms of business contracts, this kind of thing. But in terms of Allah, worshiping God, it's of course not relevant. Customs, unless they have been sanctioned by the Prophet ﷺ, are considered irrelevant in the worship of God. Now, the question arises, where Muslims in general today have their Islam so clouded and covered by their traditions and customs, how do we know which ones are prohibited and which ones are not? Well, we can look at each custom and check it against the Quran and the Sunnah. If it goes against Quran and Sunnah, we know this are not allowed. If it is accepted, if you can find it within the Quran and Sunnah, or it is not opposed to the Quran and Sunnah, then we can accept it and live with it. This is the criteria we can use. To trace back each and every action, of course, it may be very time-consuming and tedious, but, it suffices for us to take the major practices. The second part of the question about innovations in the marriage customs of India and Pakistan, I'm not really that familiar to describe each and every practice, but I know that the common use of the red dress, for example, for women, this becomes a required dress. This is taken from Hindu custom. When you look at a Hindu marriage and you look at a Muslim marriage in India and Pakistan, there are a lot of similarities. And of course, for the Muslims, it's forbidden for us to take our religious practices, and the marriage ceremony is a religious practice, to take these things from pagan sources. Now, we have a question. The question is mentioned there about the luncheon reception given by the girl's parents. Well, this luncheon reception is not against anything in the Sunnah. If people start to hold that it is something required or wajib or part of Islam and so on and so, then we can say this is bid'ah, this is innovation, it's not from the religion. But if the parents of the girl getting married decide that they want to hold something, a luncheon, a gathering, there's nothing in Islam that says you cannot. A question which comes in, even though it is out of subject, because this was sent in at the end of a lecture, can you please throw some light on the murid practices and how to tackle them? The murid practices, the concept of the murid, one who follows a peer or sheikh. Murid meaning that one has given up one's will to another human being. He is now your guide. He knows right and wrong, not better than you, so you must follow him blindly. Whatever he tells you to do, you do it. And you don't make any judgments of him because his knowledge is far beyond yours. Of course, this is an essential component of modern-day Sufism, and it is not from Islam, because blindly following anyone is only for the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only he is to be followed blindly. Whether we understand, we don't understand, we know it's for our good, and we just need to follow it. But other human beings, we must question. If we see them doing things which are against Islam, we have to ask them why. We don't just follow them blindly. This is the source of misguidance to do this. With that, dear viewers, I'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of our program, In the Light of Islam. And we hope that you'll continue to follow the program as it unfolds in the coming weeks and months. We try to answer all of your questions, but of course, some of them never make it to us. Some of them, wrong addresses have been given. Some of them are more personal, so we'll just answer them personally. And you may write into us at PO Box 111, Sharjah TV, UAE, or fax into me at 06-533-9864, or email me at fld3@hotmail.com. You could also call me in my office in Sharjah, 06-533-9864, or at my office in Dubai at Discover Islam, 04-396-2190. With that, dear viewers, we'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of our program. And we hope to see you in future programs. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.